Enchanted Arms is a JRPG for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 in 2006. Don't worry, this is still a retro review, since 2006 was, as of this writing, 18 goddamn years ago. Published by Ubisoft and developed by From Software? I think it's a safe bet that you don't need an introduction to From Software, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's one of the most prolific game developers in existence, having a massive array of game genres under their belt from over the years, unwavering and nearly completely unapologetic in their game vision. Having been a huge fan of most of their series over several decades, Kingsfield, Armored Core, Dark Souls on the 360 being my favorite game of all time, by the way, if you care to know that. I was surprised to be reminded that this thing, I guess it's a turn-based JRPG, is a From Software product. I played this about halfway through back in 2006, having a single driving point wanting me to continue to press through blatantly unacceptable levels of random battles, generic character interactions, and a lifeless world. Somehow I pressed on. Well, until I stopped. It is incredibly rare for me to stop a game halfway through. I want to see stories, no matter how contrived and generic, to the end. But at the time, I had this game on GameFly, so many better games were on the horizon for me to plow through. And either you have no clue what GameFly is, or you just got a huge hit of that sweet, sweet nostalgia. But anyhow, I tossed this game back in the envelope and mostly forgot about my experience. But it never left me. I'm trying to make sense of this story. You see, Enchanted Arms might be a terrible game on just about every metric, but for some reason, this game stuck with me for going on my 20 years after my half-assed playthrough. There are two main reasons for this. One, there is a reductively stereotypical gay main character introduced early on in the story by the name Makoto. He's like really gay, more than I think most actual gay men would like to be portrayed in any medium.
The special Makoto love omelet accompanied with the pinkest of pickles. Not to mention the raspberry pecan chocolate chip cheesecake for dessert. I didn't go to all that trouble for you to stuff your piggy face.
But I'm just guessing here. Gay men, hit me up in my DMs, in the comments, whether or not this guy is offensive. So anyway, Makoto goes missing early on in the story, and is presumed dead. But there is a mysterious, very straight-looking man in glasses that is totally not Makoto that makes several appearances throughout the game. And our brain-dead protagonists are completely oblivious to who this mystery man is. Like, I know it's actually Makoto, but I never got to the point where the game makes it official. So this unverified fact bored itself into my brain for 14 or so years. Occasionally, usually during a dinner date while trying to learn about what her interests are, popping into my consciousness is that mystery man's fabulous sunglasses, and in fact I still haven't verified 100% that that's totally Makoto. The other reason that this game stuck with me is that I've always had an interest in a let's play of this game, in where I tallied the number of times the game refers to the main protagonist's right arm, as if it felt like over 50 times by the time I quit. More on that in a second. For now, let's dive into the Enchanted Arms experience in the form of one of the longest Let's Plays on YouTube record, I am guessing. You start things off with a full battle that is actually a dream sequence. Our hero Etsuma is asleep at his desk with his two friends, Makoto and Toya, being disappointed in his youthful laziness in his studies. Efficiently, Professor Kao is explaining the lore of the game in a matter of seconds. To save you even this much exposition, the world is modernized by artificial beings called golems. They act as butlers, laborers, and the ilk to service humans in everyday life. This is demonstrated at the festival in our starting city, Yokohama. Here we get acquainted with some of the worst third-person cameras to ever exist, with an inexplicable need to reorient behind the player at all times. It's hard to describe, but trust me, you'll hate it. But I'm off track here. You see the sights and sounds for a short time before meeting one of your soon-to-be compatriots of the game, Yuki. Yuki is a screechy, incredibly annoying, ambiguously aged female that boasts about the value of money more than anything in the world. After a brief confrontation, things turn south as the golems suddenly go berserk and a strange snowfall befalls the city, making the average Joe comatose. Etsuma decides that they need to go back to the university for a tutorial dungeon romp. where we learn how a ladder works. You also need to destroy a boss at the end, showing some of the early signs that this game doesn't necessarily fuck around when it comes to fights. Once you've cleared up that mess, Toya 1v1s the main antagonist of the game, the Ice Queen. Atsuma, being as useful as tits on a bowl, gets shielded by Toya, costing the fight. The Ice Queen then abducts Toya for her own ambitions and causes Atsuma to unleash the power of his right arm upon her. He regained the understanding that his arm has properties that negate the Devil Golem's regenerative capabilities, but predictably, isn't enough to finish her off. After she vamooses, her parting gift is obliterating the entire city of Yokohama in a rather excellent cutscene, showcasing the Ice Queen's raw power. She apparently looks completely different in the eyes of the CG team, but you know, back then those teams didn't necessarily like each other very much. After another dream sequence, Atsuma awakens in a jail cell, as he apparently blacked out and roughed up a bunch of people in a blind rage. We are then introduced to two of the remaining characters of the game, Karine and Rygar. Karine introduces herself as an entitled bitch of a human being who is in fact a literal princess, and Rygar, a mysterious bodyguard with a very unsettling gaze. You break out of jail for the first official dungeon romp, showcasing some of the first of many issues this game has going forward. See, up to this point, while the game is certainly not perfect by any account, there is a clear effort put into the cutscenes, and proper enough introductions to everyone are made. However, that mask of effort is off now. The graphics in the far majority of this game consists of roughly textured mapped floors and walls, and empty, lifeless environments consisting of treasure chests that almost always have TB, the game's currency, in set amounts. An early mental game I developed to keep my sanity was predicting what the exact amount of TB was in each chest. After you escape the dungeon to the ruins of London City, no relation to London City, Atsuma is understandably frustrated at the lack of knowledge of where his friends went after the explosion, so he makes a deal with Karine and Rygar to assist him for recompense later on. To make it back to Yokohama requires an incredibly lengthy tread through a plains, a forest, and a painful retread to a frozen Yokohama. You find your dog, Koto, briefly leading you on. As predicted, the length of this particular tread is amplified by the frequency of random battles, a staple of RPG horseshit designed to pad out gameplay. The dynamics of this is interesting. The entire battle system, since your party starts off each battle at full health under normal circumstances, prevents the need to heal between fights, which is welcome. It also touts having a fast forward button during the fights, which speeds up the process of each random battle. Depending on how much punishment your characters take during a fight, you lose a certain amount of vitality points, which dictates whether or not each fighter starts with full health and energy points, or a single digit of both. Fighting normal random battles will generally result in a small loss of VP, but the trick being, running away from battles while selecting escape is always a guarantee. You will lose a considerable amount of VP as punishment for wanting to play the game sooner. You catch up with the dog, Koto, who's dead as shit. And the evil-looking professor from earlier, shockingly, turns out to be evil. You meet up with him, Toya, and the Ice Queen for a mouth-off, where Toya claims he enjoys being the Magicore, aka fuel, for the Queen of Ice, much to Atsuma's dismay. The first hard-ass boss battle commences afterwards, requiring a considerable amount of strategy to take down. While I am slowly but surely shitting all over this game, I cannot deny that the battle system of this game is easily its saving grace. While it appears to be very simple at a glance, the dynamics of the grid-based system are used to great effect. Also, many bosses are weak to having their energy points drained, nullifying the majority of their attacks when depleted. This is the only way I was able to beat Professor Asshat here. After a 7-minute long battle, we witness our first betrayal of the game.
Now kill him! Queen of Ice!
No!
Oh no! You killed the bad guy.
Actually, I believe it's your time to die, insect.
Atsuma is upset at the accusations that his arm essentially makes him a weapon, and he's not human. while Kareen does the worst job in the world at being an empath.
Not human, am I? I'm a weapon. A golem.
You're an idiot, certainly. I don't know about you, but I've never seen a golem cry. We're leaving.
The party returns to London City to reach the resistance group that is trying to resist the local kingdom, and for whatever reason, needs to cut directly through the castle to do so. But prior to that, we need to duck away from Uka, Rygar's estranged brother. After a slog through a cave system, we arrive at the resistance hideout. We are introduced to a generic resistance leader, and this weirdo called the Giggling Man that totally isn't going to turn on everybody. This area also introduces one of the other painful mechanics of the game, where your party is automatically disbanded, and Atsuma is struck with a task of wandering aimlessly to try to get the game to progress again. Finally, you get the meeting underway, and at nighttime you meet up with Yuki, where she fights Atsuma to get him to snap out of his funk. I give this game a lot of shit. The plot of this game is so strangely constructed at times, with areas and events duct taped together to resemble things occurring. But one thing that keeps this game going is the actual interaction between the characters. In my obscenely cynical frame of mind, I found myself defending Atsuma openly when his character is being ridiculed for no reason by Kareen, and actually starts to feel bad for the dumb shit during this conversation. The voice acting in this game is actually quite great, despite giving a ludicrous plot and situations that are simply stupid on canvas.
Yes, you're right. I had a friend who used to say the same thing about me, you know.
A friend?
Can I ask you something? If countless people have been hurt by a stupid thing you've done, what would you do?
I just wouldn't think about it.
You wouldn't? Think about it? But that's not possible.
These characters manage to keep the game from truly falling apart, since you start to feel for them during some of the longer interactions. After Atsuma beats the shit out of Yuki, they discover scouts outside the hideout. After a quick shellacking, they return to tell the others. Kareen steps up and gives a speech to the resistance to fight back, which motivates the crowd of duplicate people to stand their ground.
What's going on? Surrounded? What do you mean?
Well-bred lady.
What should we do?
We've been betrayed! We must have been! How else could the location of this place get out?
So I froze on this frame for a bit. It's obvious that the developers reuse character models over and over. But do you think for a second that maybe, just maybe, you could try a bit harder in this spot to differentiate some of these people? This is what I mean when I say this game is very hard to take seriously at times.
All of us in the Resistance will suffer the highest penalty if we're caught. That would mean execution. If we cannot escape, then we must fight. Steel yourselves for battle. Fight? We're looking at execution.
Steel ourselves, she says.
Rygar is imprisoned on the suspicions of being the mole. While he waits in his cell, you need to wander even more in the hopes of moving things along. Kareen is captured by the douche canoe by the name of Uka. At the same time, Rygar is given a letter from our handsome man.
You again? What are you doing here?
Helping you out, of course. I found something that might be of interest in your leader's room. I thought you might like it. Here you go.
Using this information, Rygar decides to clear the air by smashing through the walls and displaying the letter, showing the mole to be the resistance leader all along. Once he's cleared, the party gives some exposition on the way to save Kareen from the clutches of her captor. But before they can reach her, the party needs to confront the Giggling Man, which is one of my favorite confrontations in the game.
That laugh!
It's the Giggling Man!
I have a name, you know. You'll pay for mocking me. Listen up. My name is...
I know! Giggling Man!
You insolent fool! That's not it! My name is...
Shut up! You're the Giggling Man!
Yeah, that's a good name. It describes your attributes perfectly.
No, listen. My name...
Shut it! Start the fight already!
Once you arrive at Uka and Kareen, Uka spills out some of his insanely pitiful motivations for hating on his brother so much, prior to a really lengthy and unbalanced boss fight.
Your superiority complex sickens me. I hate you for that. I'll burn myself into your conscience, you'll see. I won't die before I do that. Next time we fight, I'll kill you!
After all this happens, the Queen of Ice and Toya arrive for further antagonization of the group. The Queen wants the Emperor of Fire to be revived, and is blackmailing the group to do so. Apparently, since the group is carrying the magic core needed to revive it. Once we finally backtrack to London City Castle, Uka and Rygar confront each other once more, where we witness patricide.
You leave me no choice.
My lady! Uka! Yes, finally. Why?
Rygar, come on.
Kareen?
Hey, that's a little cold, isn't it? He just killed his brother.
Quiet!
What?
Rygar, staying here, regretting this, would be to disgrace Oka's death.
Shut the fuck up!
Kareen wastes zero, and I mean zero time, being an absolute bitch by not allowing Rygar a moment of reflection on murdering his own flesh and blood. Upon reaching the top, you are assisted by the handsome man, who I must remind you that Atsuma has no clue on who this guy could be. Kareen has a flashback of her father taking a huge expositional dump. Let's listen in.
Listen to me, Kareen. We of royal blood must never enter the loyal chamber ahead. Never.
Father? Why are royals not allowed inside? It should be the other way around.
No, Kareen. It should not. So long as they do not hold the magic ore, anyone else may enter, because they would be unable to revive the Devil Golem. But we, descendants of the ancient royal line, are different, because our bodies can become a magicore for a Devil Golem.
I could be a magicore? But what about the magicore we already have?
Well, we may call it a magicore, but really it's a replica at best. Created so that a Devil Golem can be operated without sacrificing human life.
So, what's the difference between using a replica and a human?
In ancient times, a human magicore was able to exert some control over the golem. But time has passed, and royal blood grows thin. I doubt the same could be said now.
Thanks, Pops. You did a better job explaining the lore of Magicore than I ever could. Kareen, desperate for revenge of losing her father to the Ice Queen, offers herself as human fuel to revive the Emperor of Fire. This sparks a Godzilla battle between fire and ice, to which apparently Ice wins. Atsuma and co. then grind for 2 hours to be able to beat the ensuing boss battle, and Atsuma then absorbs the power of the magic core, rendering the Devil Golem idle once more. He also does a sweet dive to save Kareen, totally not shattering the laws of physics to do so. Now that things have settled down, you're tasked with a fetch questing to rebuild London City before the decision is made for the party to make their way to Kyoto City in an attempt to reach that city's Devil Golem before the Queen of Ice does, despite the fact that the Queen of Ice can fly, but you know, whatever. But to do this will require a treacherous hike that has random battles cranked up to 11, making a run that would take minutes to do now take hours. Once we finally arrive at Junk City, it does not take long for Yuki's backstory to emerge. Apparently her brother had died nearby, who also happens to have a near-identical resemblance to Atsuma. Yuki is captured by the local rich fuck, who accuses her of stealing a magical flute. You need to prove her innocence by fetch questing information, starting with digging through her belongings.
Look at the chest, open it up. What? No!
You find out that Yuki actually did steal it, but decide that the dude is an asshole and you beat him down anyway. After you confront this sphinx, you finally get to leave Busywork City and cross the desert.
Look, there!
here I took off for, I don't know, 5 months on my Let's Play. The pure depravity of the preceding sequence of talking to random characters in a lifeless environment for a character that I really don't give a shit about really took a toll on my soul. You find a samurai in distress just after crossing the desert. The group goes to aid her, with Rygar hesitating. When they're disposed of, we learn that the woman is Rygar's arranged fiancée. After a lengthy exchange, she agrees to help the group teach Atsuma a secret art that is continuously mentioned that is supposed to help him gain control of his right arm. After crossing the lake, you reach Kyoto, a quaint little samurai village with one of the worst music tracks in the game, and also yet more backstory for one of our characters. Thankfully, it's Rygar's backstory, so this becomes much more digestible. Rygar's the fucking man, whereas Yuki reminds me of what a baked potato would sound like if it had a voice. You are trying to gain passage, but the village elder does not remotely approve, as he hates Rygar with a passion. He is, after all, Sayaka's father. They don't dive into why, but that's because stories are more interesting when they take their time explaining the most basic shit that could have easily have been explained already. Mystery. The party needs to get to the aesthetic court, but to gain access to this area requires a key given by the Emperor of Kyoto. This bulbous, cartoonish asshat of a character. He is distracted by the request to allow the party through, as this antagonist reminds him later on that the Temple of Earth is nearby. Thankfully, Karine is abducted by ninjas after retrieving the key, causing an hour-long trek to save her. Once they reconvene, the party bluntly accuses the Emperor of causing the mess to begin with.
Lady Karine was just abducted here in Kyoto City. Luckily, those with her were able to rescue her safely, as you can see.
Then that settles that!
One might think so, my lord. But the kidnappers were a troop of ninja, led by Oboro. I am sure this is simply Oboro acting alone, but...
It was actually under your orders, right? You old goat?
What?
You're up to something. Definitely.
Causing him to verbally bit-slap his aide and banishing her to the village. The party is informed by Sayaka that she will cut down the party if they attempt to force their way to the aesthetic court. But after a beatdown, physically, and then with Rygar throwing down words like a fucking boss, we finally can cross over towards the actual plot progression.
Why do you not try to show him the error of his ways? Is it your vow to simply obey your lord's every wish? We are going through. If you wish to kill us, then keep your vow and do so. My lady, let us go. Yes.
Then, I'm sorry, Sayaka.
Finally, we can get back to some good old-fashioned agony, walking no more than 20 feet between each random battle, cutting as many corners as possible to avoid any unnecessary steps, and questioning your life decisions. Oh, and there's a ladder or two. And these things. The devs were very, very proud of this animation, methinks. Finally, they arrive at the monk, and I have to give this game credit. I was not expecting this.
Maybe this aesthetic monk is a bit of a sociopath. So he ran off?
Yo, yo, yo.
Oh, this game never fails to disappoint me.
I'm pleased I took the time to spy on you. Sounds like you jumped to conclusions.
Atsuma describes the situation to the monk, and also gives another speech to the importance of teamwork. They proceed to the Earth Temple. After dispatching this mini-boss, Atsuma and Rygar step up to the altar to discuss how to pick up a thing for about 2 minutes, before Atsuma's right arm decides to do a thing.
Here it comes!
Atsuma!
This might be bad.
Also, I mute this section due to the absolutely horrific tinnitus sound that the developers put in here when Atsuma works out his issues. Once they get back to the monk, Atsuma learns the power of Gaia, which was apparently inside him the whole time. Or actually, he teaches it to him? I don't know. It's very confusing.
9? Well, you were lucky enough to survive. That's all that matters.
So Atsuma has learned the secret art?
Yeah, I guess so.
You guess so? Is that the best you've got?
He doesn't look any different, does he? I know how hard it was on you, Atsuma. but maybe it was meaningless.
No, it can't be.
Ah, come on. You're not gonna make me say it again, are you?
Don't be bound by common sense.
That's right. The secret art lies inside. You can't see it with the naked eye.
Really?
You don't trust me? I guess I have to make this super simple for you then, don't I? Okay? How about this?
Returning to the village, Oboro is burning down the house, claiming it's the orders of the Emperor. After slapping him down once again, the party then backtracks to the temple to confront Tokimone, the Emperor. Now we have a Power Ranger-esque battle with Toki and his creepy-looking dolls. Oboro helps him escape, only to cut him down in a cave to steal the Magicore that is revealed to be inside the annoying fuck.
Die.
Why? What have you done to me?
I have cut you down. Do you not get it, you imbecile?
What? What is all this red? I'm so hot. Or is this pain? I don't want to die yet. I don't want to die.
Huh? With the Magicore of a devil golem, my clan will be safe. You are no longer of any use.
I don't want...
Squeal like the pig you are as you die.
Jeez, that's actually pretty dark. But my empathy died long ago, so yay! Also, Oboro meets his end right afterwards.
If you give me what I want, then it's yours. I don't care even if you are a devil golem.
Oh, really? Then maybe I'll just take it. And your reward. Let's see. How about the honor of being killed by a devil golem?
What?
Yay! After catching up with the Lord of Earth, we take a 20-minute long battle to fuck him up. Well, 20 minutes after grinding for hours to make this fight bearable again, and Natsuma uses his newfound ability to use his right arm to absorb this devil golem, for reasons. The party wraps things up at the village for like 30 minutes of dialogue that I'm cutting out for brevity, and the compass of plot progression now points to the north at the Sage's Tower. But Rygar is alluding to an issue, but Kareen is following the typical plot logic of interrupting before we find out what that issue is. Once we backtrack even more back to the path to the Sage's Tower, we are told the path is impeded by a pile of junk. To remove the junk, we need to backtrack even more to talk to a kid, who immediately removes the junk, and we are automatically teleported back to the junk pile. I tell you, the means of progression in this game is baffling at times. Anyway, see that on the bottom right corner? Yeah, that's the zero encounter skill I added via the casino while off camera. As much as I occasionally despise this game, this is a beautiful thing indeed. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Why these developers never thought outside the box with random battles will haunt me forever. They put in a fast forward button for all of their fights. You think that you would have this kind of mindset, you'd look into why you think you have a need for a fast forward button. Anyway, we arrive at Sage's Tower, which is essentially the last dungeon of the game. Here, in my opinion, the developers gave up on all creativity and just made a giant square and said have fun. It's utterly devoid of life, or anything interesting, save for a rudimentary push block puzzle.
You can't be fucking serious. There's so many of them. There's so many of them. Oh my god. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
We finally reach the Sage, whom Rygar was an apprentice under at some point. The meeting goes, as per usual, totally weird.
What?
I'm telling you, I have no apprentice by that name!
But...
Get out of here! Huh? I'm telling you to get out of my sight! Ah! Vamoose!
She scolds the group so loudly that they all run away in fear, to which they immediately return to chat with her. She then immediately reaccepts the group. It's a weird exchange. Approximately 45% more weird than usual up to this point. Once the fadeaway to explain the plot occurs, the sage explains that boy Toya is mostly emerged with the Queen of Ice, and the only way to save him is to disable the regeneration process using "It's time to play Guess What Limb is Needed." Left leg, right leg, forehead, left arm, right arm, buttocks.
It's the right arm? No fucking way, baby! Woo!
Queen Bitch arrives once more to taunt everyone and invite the group to her domain. I'm sure there's nothing insidious going on with that invitation. Toya once again beckons Atsuma that he should kill him, which at this point reminds me a lot of Tiny Rick singing the song about letting him out of the vat in the garage. Boy, that reference is going to go over some heads. The Queen drops the boss in front of you to test her skills, claiming she's checking in on the progress of Atsuma's arm, to which the group doesn't even stop to consider why she would even talk like that. She then vanishes, and the group discusses the plan going forward.
This girl was saved from the Emperor of Fire is because there were 2 Magicors.
2 Magicors? Because both the broken Magicore and Lady Corinne herself were inside the Emperor. But how did that make a difference?
This is only a theory, but a disruptive reaction between 2 Magicores could cause a Devil Golem to reject the bond that would normally occur, obstructing any kind of fusion.
I see. So that would have prevented Lady Corinne from becoming part of the Emperor. Thus, she was saved when he was absorbed.
Correct. I see.
Hey.
What now?
Did you really understand all that?
Of course.
Well then, based on what we just said, how do you think Toya could be saved from the Queen of Ice?
Okay.
Yeah, this was me, and I just guessed. The group then reaches the final village in the game, operated by a portal that just teleports you to it, because half-assed. This area also teleports you to the other areas of the game as sort of a hub. You need to rescue the village elder from certain doom in order to gain the key to progress, and then have a battle with the mysterious, totally not Makoto and Sunglasses character, in which I can only describe as utter horseshit, since he one-shots Atsuma with this attack unless you were heavily leveled up at this point, but no apparent reasoning why the difficulty needed to spike up so much. Oh, that's right, it's From Software. After another hour or so of leveling up, I can finally bitch slap this fabulous man, and he agrees to give up the Queen's Magicore, which is solely needed for victory. The group uses the key to open this giant gate to the Queen's castle, leading to a lengthy waltz to a series of final confrontations. As I've mentioned repeatedly, this is a product of From Software, which is obviously known for their unique take on certain aspects of whatever game genre they take on. But up to this point, I honestly did not find this game particularly From-like, with some kind of over-the-top nonsense that, say, the latest Armored Core game put on display, with a tutorial boss so difficult that it caused thousands of refunds from little bitches that can't take a little challenge. Sorry, that was my inner ableist coming out. Where was I? Yeah, so nothing really screamed, what the hell, until now. This game ends things with a boss battle with a few phases. But let's get to that in a second, shall we? First, we need to fight Toya.
Atsuma, I knew you would come.
Toya!
So, are you prepared to kill me?
Never!
I see. As always, you just don't get it, do you? Then I'll have to force you to break me. I am prepared to die. Let me show you.
Wow, this fight was very long and very difficult. You expected me to say very hard? What's wrong with you?
Why? Why, Atsuma?
Toya!
This is our only chance. You have a duty to destroy me. Why won't you kill me? Do it! If I die, if the Queen of Ice's Magicore is destroyed, then everyone can be happy.
Toya, why did you try to trick me into killing you?
I wanted to free you from guilt. Now, quickly, Do it!
Toya!
That laugh!
And now the final confrontation begins.
Well, well. I've been waiting for you, children.
Give Toya back!
Oh, my. A little intensity can be attractive. But if you're not careful, you'll end up like him.
What?
Atsuma, look!
Yeah, there's a corpse in front of you.
The handsome guy. He's been wasted.
Is he dead?
All to buy Toya some time to talk to you. Look where it got him. You humans really are pitiful.
God damn, that queen is hot. Where was I? Yeah, here's the final boss battle with the queen. We get to not only fight the queen, but 3 underlings that continuously smack up the group and perpetually heal the queen. It's maddeningly difficult. It requires a very well-equipped party. Eventually, we proceed to defeat her. Hey, I'll take a break when I feel like it, Xbox. But wait, we're not done yet. Time for the final confrontation. While this is a simpler fight technically, it takes upwards of 20 minutes of inputs before you can take her down, due to the healing mechanics on display.
I am the Queen of Ice. I am a god. This is not enough to kill me.
Her body, it's regenerating.
If you want to destroy me, Atsu, use your arm.
What? Makato?
What? What are you doing, you dimwit? Don't you need to do something with that magic ore? Quickly!
Oh my god. The mysterious character that has the voice and likeness of Makoto is in fact Makoto. I have been waiting 18 years to verify what I already knew. Finally, she is defeated. No, really, that's the last of the queen.
Yeah! We did it! We defeated the Queen of Ice!
Atsuma! All right!
Great! So this is like a big happy ending, right?
Indeed. We saved Toya and defeated the Queen of Ice.
But... Makoto!
Of course. The handsome guy.
Yeah! He's... Makoto! We just gotten you back! Why did you have to die, Makoto?
I'm not dead.
Huh?
Do you think I'd go off and die, leaving Toya behind with you? You really are as slow as ever.
Shut up!
What was that?
Did you see what I just did? Did you? And why are you dressed like that anyway? Isn't it against your cross-dressing code to dress so macho?
Why, you little... Just shut up! A lady should be refined and gentle. That's my motto. It'd be far too embarrassing for a lady to do all the things I did.
What? That's the reason you concealed your identity?
Yes. You have a problem with that? It's pretty straightforward, really.
I hate to interrupt, but...
What is it? Well, hello there. You're quite a strapping man, aren't you?
Alright. A few things here. Are you telling me that you haven't seen Rygar yet?
You again. What are you doing here?
Helping you out, of course.
Does that reasoning explain any and all motivations to conceal your identity? Atsuma awakens below, giving us a beautiful, merciful opportunity to save the goddamn game.
My arm! My arm!
For reference, I count this as 2 ticks of mentioning the arm. Does that count for 2? Please let me know.
No, Atsuma used his arm to absorb the queen. Which means that infinity. This is bad. I've got to find Atsuma. What was that? It came from over there. Oh no! Atsuma! No! He's already being absorbed by infinity. Atsuma, wake up!
Oh man, the design of this is bad enough, but couldn't you do anything better with that pitch shift? I literally can do better right now.
See? Alright, time for the final confrontation.
This final confrontation is simple enough, as you play as Toya and Makoto in what is basically scripted. They free Atsuma from the grips of infinity after a remember who you are bit, and everything is better. Except now we need to do the final confrontation, baby. Do you want to know why this ultimate being is called Infinity? Because you'll feel like infinity time has gone by the time you finish this final confrontation. You need to destroy these elementals in a specific number of turns, or they disappear and reappear on separate turns with full health. It's really, really annoying. I had to redo this fight by turn 30 until I understood the mechanics. And finally, we have vanquished this asshole. Just kidding, time for the final confrontation, baby, let's go. The final confrontation causes characters to get stuck to the ground due to the gravity disability if you don't have the negation set in your skill tree. And since you need to move around to avoid his nasty ass swipes, I'd advise you to do better than I did. At long last, we take this bastard down, just in time for Atsuma to use his arm to absorb the being. Just kidding! Time for the final confrontation, motherfuckers. This shit never ends. This phase is more of a directional challenge and to see if you have any healing consumables left in your inventory. I think it's the easiest phase of the last 2 or 3. I can't remember anymore. You take this one down and finally, no joke, actually beat this fucking thing. At least on paper.
So, now we've killed him, right?
This isn't working, Atsuma. He's just going to recover again.
Damn! What should we do?
Use your arm!
I had it on mute, but Jesus fucking Christ. What a plot twist. Use your arm.
I never, ever would have guessed that this was the solution to our dilemma. Time for the final confrontation. Yeah, I mean, actually, for real. I'm seriously not joking again. How could I be? You trust me, don't you? Don't you trust me? After picking this one option, you will finally clear the boss out of Phase 7.
Everyone, lend me your strength!
Go, Atsuma!
Yeah, get him!
I'm with you, Atsuma. Don't forget me.
Ooh, ventriloquist, eh?
And I'll help too!
Shut up! Humans change. I mean, it's been 1,000 years. You've lost. You hear me? Lost because you haven't changed at all.
Atsuma vaporizes the bastard with the power of woke. The game's epilogue ends with a heartwarming reunion with the cast of characters, and whatever this is.
Toya!
And If I remember correctly, tonight was going to be a very special night for me and you, Toya. Our promised kiss.
What are you talking about? Makoto!
Today is a special day indeed. I say go for it, Makoto.
Well... Atsuma!
Oh, Toya. I love you, baby.
No! Yuck!
Nothing beats assault to wrap up your adventure. Wow, what an adventure this game was. It's a hard thing to describe. Having one of the strangest combinations of features in a JRPG. A lifeless, haphazardly designed world mixed in with a generic style talkie device, set to an incredibly trite plot filled with nonsensical plot devices, insidiously frequent random battles to pad out a runtime that would otherwise be filled within hours. You would think that this is the worst experience ever, but it isn't. Something about these characters grabbed my attention and kept me just within arm's reach. Get it? Arm's reach? Anyway, I can't deny that Atsuma's youthful energy, Karin's eventual coming down to earth, and Rygar's bluntness didn't manage to capture unique dynamics that kept me interested in what came next. I didn't mention Yuki because she sucks balls. Also, the battle system is excellent, and I wish the game managed to be better elsewhere to warrant the actual wanting to play this game all the way through. The grid system is deceptively complex, with most of the bosses doing a fantastic job at changing up your playstyle to meet the next challenge. It's just too bad when the fight is over, we are put back on this flat, lifeless canvas to pretend what's happening is happening. So much of this game requires your imagination to fill in the blanks, things like, there he goes, and look who's here, instead of even the most basic animations on screen to illustrate what's happening. The more you look, the more you notice how cheaply so many of the set pieces are. Even for 2006, this game's hideously designed graphically, with the majority of OG Xbox showcasing superior visuals. Many of the textures are repeated over so many objects that were also the work of brushwork, giving an uncanny look that almost, and I mean almost, makes the game look unique in its own way. But no, it's fugly, and the before-mentioned characters deserved a better environment to thrive in. The plot is also drivel, with nearly zero redeeming qualities. The idea that golems would turn against their masters is so out of date, I don't even remember if it was ever in date. Yes, I'm quoting the AVGN. There are some outlines of a good plot here, but it is broken down by the game design that prohibits any kind of grandiose interaction with anything resembling a meaningful world. It's yet another JRPG with a hallway design, a disturbing trend that continues to ruin what makes RPGs good for decades now into today's crap. The need to discuss the protagonist's right arm, as I might have mentioned, 172 times? Is that what we landed on? It seems like a bit excessive, but I was thinking it was the fault of the translation. But then again, I think the localization was actually pretty good, since I had quite a few moments in the game where I enjoyed the conversations, so what the fuck? Why was it so important to mention the arm so many times? Who knows? Would I recommend this game? Absolutely not. Watch a Let's Play that isn't mine, with most of the battles cut out, and enjoy some of the banter, if you want more of these characters.
I'm going.
What's she gonna say?
Kill!
They really put the word kill in its own text box that I have to cycle through. You.
No!
But I, for one, needed closure on this weird chapter in my life. And now I've verified both the counter of how many times the game mentions Atsuma's right arm, along with the whereabouts of Makoto. I can finally rest my right arm. Thank you for watching my video. Here is the list of new public subscribers. Not a lot this week, or month, whatever. How long's it been? I don't even know anymore. Michael Tuma, Carl Tafoya, Artman XP, Yagneld Clickstrobe. Man, you guys give me some challenges. Tyler's Prophecy, Luca Guarayanto, Mark Silent, Mad Maniac Matt, Animist Dialect. Thank you all for making it this far. I will be going back to a little bit more of a retro style. I really wanted to get this one out of the way because, well, honestly, 3 years for a Let's Play I think is pretty unacceptable. By the way, do not watch that playlist. I should probably just delete it. It's really unwatchable. I mean, I seriously mean that. But I was happy to extrapolate some of it and, yeah, regale my stories. Anywho, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
we can all become a little happier tomorrow.